This is the Healy Brothers Podcast.
Welcome to the Healy Pond. I know you've been on it before. You're on here for an employee spotlight.
Yep.
Right. So this is Bill Birmingham. We're going to talk about, he's an owner of a Silverado EV. And from what Jay has told me, you are a big fan of that truck.
Proud owner of the Silverado EV. It's exceeded my expectations at every point.
I think you told me it's the most impressive GM vehicle you've driven. I think that was
For me personally, it is my favorite vehicle to drive.
Because you've won a bunch of regular Silverados. I think
I've had dozens of conventional ICE gas-driven, Silverados. I own the EV Silverado now, and I have an EV Blazer as well.
Oh, you have a Blazer too?
Yeah.
And there's no comparison?
I mean, for me, there's no comparison right now with the technology and the drivability and the extended range on some of the Silverado EV.
What is your range?
450 plus.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So what initially drew you to the truck? Like, what was the turning point to make you go from an ICE Silverado to an EV?
Just to try to get my hands on the new technology. I mean, you first look at that truck, the styling is modern. The styling it's a beautiful looking truck.
Okay. So it was really the style is what initially
I think that's what initially draws your eye to it. And then once you get inside and you experience, what that truck has to offer, that's where the tipping point comes for you and you start heavily considering going EV.
Okay. So then after it, what were the certain features or specs of it after the looks of the vehicle that then kind of made you finalize?
From your first test drive, you're kind of blown away by the raw power, torque, horsepower, four-wheel drive steering, how such a big, heavy vehicle can be so nimble on the road, have such a tight turning radius. It's kind of mind-blowing.
So it's kind of like stages. You like the look of it, then you test drove it, then you're
and then you kind of get hooked. And like I said, the torque and the horsepower are a big component of that. It is just absolute raw power ready to go.
Yeah, it's probably a lot faster than my car, I bet you.
It's 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds.
Okay, it's not faster, but it's pretty.
Yeah.
What's wild is it's probably, I think, only 0.6 seconds off, and it's probably 3 times the size of my EV.
8,800 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. So, did you go on any long trips with it?
Oh, I have been on multiple long trips.
And what was that experience like?
The Silverado EV, because of its extended range, takes all of that range anxiety that most people feel about EVs. It takes it right out of the picture. At 450 plus, it's not, you don't need to be hyper aware of how many miles do I have left or how many miles do I need to get to my destination. It's got more than enough generally.
And then how does before we start filming, you're talking about the Google Maps integrates stops, right?
Sure. So the truck will tell you, how many miles you have left to your destination. And then at any point, if you need charging stations along the way, it'll navigate you right to those charging stations.
Yeah, that's the beautiful part about it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have this range anxiety with EVs. The minute you start driving one, every day for just a little bit of time, that dissipates. You get right over that.
I've only had one bad experience with it. And it was not with the EV Silverado, with mine. It was just a stupid decision of mine. My girlfriend lives out in Middletown, so it's far from me, right? And when I got out there, I didn't charge my car on the way out there. Usually I do because it's like 50 miles from me.
Sure.
And I knew I was going to cut it close to even get from her house because she lives in, I don't know, Mamakating, Otisville. I don't know if you know where. So it's like outside of Middletown. So I was going to be pushing it close to get to the Middletown chargers. And then we went to go get ice cream. And then I got in my car, it told me I wasn't going to make it to any charging station. I think I got to the Middletown one with like 6 miles of range. Yeah. That's the only time I've owned a car.
Experiment, you have a little bit of extra reserve in a gas car after it tells you it's empty.
Correct.
I don't know of anybody that's pushed the boundary with the EV yet.
So there's rumors that is true, that there is some range.
I would think there's some
after it. Yeah. But I really thought I was going to be the guy because I've seen it get towed to the charging station. Yeah. But that was my fault. That wasn't the car's fault.
Yeah.
Because when Jay and I had talked about this, a lot of it comes down to preparation. Sure. Right? Like when you have an ICE vehicle, you don't really prepare for anything.
No, you hop in it and you go.
Yeah, you can wind up running late because you got to stop and get gas and whatnot. So I just learned a lot of preparing to do. I don't know, do you charge at home?
I do. I charge at home and I charge at work, obviously. So for me, I'm in a perfect world where I have capability to charge both and my commute is 40 or 50 miles. So it's not a game changer where I have to charge every day. I mean, this Silverado, I'm charging once a week, once every 5 or 6 days at best.
You get home with 350 miles of range pretty much.
I get home with 400 miles range when I charge it to 100%. Yeah.
Oh, you're only 40 miles back and forth?
No, each way.
Oh, each way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, if I go there and back, then yeah, it would take me 80 miles, 80, 90 miles.
That's wild.
But, and then, the Silverado also charges it at an absurd rate.
Yeah, what's the longest you've actually sat there?
100 miles for 10 minutes.
Okay.
So, I mean, you're at 400 miles in 40 minutes, so it's not where you have to sit there for an hour or two to get back to where you need to go. Just to add 100 miles might be 10 minutes or, 200 miles at 20 minutes.
See, that's a fast charge time because to put in perspective, mine, if I charge at 80%, which is 225,
Yeah.
I'm there for 25 minutes.
Yeah. The
So if
Blaze
you're-
is a little bit slower.
If you're getting to 450 in 40 minutes, you're basically getting 200 miles of range and only an extra 15 minutes compared to what I charge.
Yeah.
So that's that's
It's
impressive.
It just eats up that charge. It just really soaks it right up.
Yeah. And now when you've stopped, this is what I try to explain to people, like a lot of the chargers are in locations that you have something to do.
Sure.
So you've noticed that like you're not just sitting in your car for 40 minutes.
Of course, like you see, Tesla had this mastered a long time ago. You see them at all rest areas. So you pull into a rest area. By the time you go inside and, maybe use the bathroom or grab a bite to eat, it's a 20-minute turnaround. And what you can gain quickly in 20 minutes, like in the Silverado case, could potentially be 200 miles. So, it's not uncomfortable as people, believe it to be, And I think if you talk to people that own EVs, and you can probably attest to this, is that range anxiety goes out of the window once you just get comfortable and you trust the car. You trust the vehicle that it's going to get what it says it's going to get.
And it really does. The only time, like mine has an energy tab.
Yeah.
The only time it doesn't is when I'm a jackass. It'll tell me how many miles of range I've used with hard accelerations. That's on me. That's not on the vehicle. But you're totally right. Like mine, the Tesla charger by my house is at a food store.
Yeah.
I can't go inside and come out without my charger, without my car being finished charging. So like,
that's how my son did it. He has a Blazer EV and he's in Boston, and when he goes to the supermarket, he just plugs it in and he's at almost full capacity by the time he comes out. And it's just a simple adding that to your normal routine of what you do.
I've tried to explain that to so many people. Like even the one in Middletown is at a quick check, right? So if I'm coming home from her house late at night, I might want to go inside and get like a nice coffee or something. By the time I go inside, I use the restroom, I make myself a coffee, I maybe have 8 minutes left, roughly.
Right.
So I've tried to explain that to so many people that like, you'd be surprised how long, like if you stop and get gas on a road trip, you'd be surprised how long
by the time
you're
off the
inside the gas
exit,
station.
right, correct. And you get in the gas station, you get out, you pump your gas, you go in, you get something to drink, and it's not much different.
Everyone thinks they're in there for like 3 minutes, but
it's not true.
You're not. So it's super surprising. So I'm glad you brought that up because I'm not the only one that's actually realized that it's not as inconvenient as people.
No, you get used
really
to it,
think
and
it
that's there was a bunch of early adopters to this whole EV movement, and the rest of us all said, "Oh, I can never do it."
Don't forget their charging time was longer back then.
It was longer. The range wasn't as good. There were less chargers, obviously, available to people. But that's changed, and that's changing, every day.
Okay. And then are there any like back to like features and stuff? Are there any like smaller things that have really like stood out to you in the vehicle?
I mean, that vehicle is mammoth in terms of space. You have no engine in the front, so you have a very large frunk. Or
I think we did a video where someone crawled in it.
Oh, by all means, you could definitely get a body in there. But it is mammoth. There's a ton of space. There's so many little features. There's so many customizable things with the EVs, and especially the Silverado EV, in terms of what just to personalize it to yourself. How you like it. The adjustable ride height, for example, with the Silverado, is a maximum height, or you could lower it down and have that thing sitting right on the wheels.
Where do you personally drive that?
Where I personally
like the ride height?
I kind of like it up high. It's
Okay.
a big vehicle. I like it high. You don't get any extra really body lean or roll because the center of gravity on that truck is so low that even when you're hammering a turn, it's pretty much glued to the road.
Yeah. So, and now have you used that bed feature for anything?
I have not, but we demonstrate it at the dealership all the
Yeah, the
time.
one in the showroom's got it down.
It takes a minute. They really have it down with the seats pop right down. The back glass window comes down, and
It's one latch to pull the rest
it's
down.
one latch to pull everything down. Yeah, and then you have
Impressive.
like I think 11 feet of total bed, linear space.
Yeah, I don't want to talk bad about Ford because we do own one, but they went into it too early.
Yeah.
right? People don't use them on job sites outside of their generator due to their range. Like my stepdad works for Con Edison, and they don't really use it actually for much, right? But now, unlike Silverado, the back seat doesn't fold down. So if you were a contractor and you had large pieces of sheetrock or wood or anything like that, to compare it to the F-150, like you can fit a lot bigger stuff in the bed, and the range is a ton more in the EV Silverado compared to it is in Ford. Don't get me wrong, the F-150 Lightning is a great vehicle.
Beautiful vehicle.
But they adopted a little bit too early. Meanwhile, how GM and Mopar, or Stellantis now, not Mopar, they waited a little bit longer, and their vehicles are more impressive now. I'm sure Ford will.
You got out there game a little bit. The Ford Lightning is a nice vehicle. The Silverado has more power capability auxiliary-wise at the back of that bed. The bed is more useful. You know, you have that tri-fold tailgate, which is very useful. And then when you take that whole back section out of that truck, you know, the capacity it gives you is unparalleled.
That's why I think GM played it so smart, waiting a little bit, that couple more years to probably do more research on the vehicle to figure it out.
Sure.
It's probably the best electric vehicle out there.
I would say pound for pound, in my opinion. Yep.
Comparing it to the other ones. And what I loved is, you know, the Stellantis and Ford took a different route. They allowed their Lightning to look like a regular F-150, and Stellantis wanted their REV to look like a regular truck. I love that GM just totally differentiated it. Yeah. Oh my God.
Well, that's part of it, right? You have new technology, then why not show it off in a different body style? Why not give it a different look? Why not get some heads turning and go, what is that there?
Yeah, I think GM's done great with that aspect of it. But how have our sales been with them? If we're just to bring that up,
I mean, EV, we do well with EVs in general. We're still kind of in that adoption period where we need more folks to take advantage and just come in for a test drive and experience what they have to offer you. The Silverado, if there is a drawback, the price point is high. You know,
what's the starting price?
Well, I mean, for the one like for an RST, you are every bit of $100,000.
Okay.
So it is substantial relative to some other things that are in the market. There are better price points coming. There are new trim levels coming. There's an all-new Trail Boss EV coming.
All right, because they only released the RST at first, right?
That was the first release, and then that could have been, you know, where they stubbed their toe a little bit, that they put a $100,000 truck out there, and
possibly
it's hard to justify jumping into the EV game and spending that kind of money. It's worth every penny, but sales aren't what they thought they were going to be initially. Now, the lesser price vehicles, EV and Blazer, offer just a more economical entry-level EV. We do fantastic with them.
Yeah, I think Jay calls you guys EV Central over here.
Big commitment here at the store. You know, we believe in the technology. We didn't think it was going anywhere, so we made a financial commitment and a commitment to our customers to support the sales.
And the GM is great with that stuff. So, but how have your personal views on electric vehicles changed since now that you've owned one?
I think we're also at the infancy of the technology, and I think you're going to see this thing jump in leaps and bounds. So I think the future is bright for the technology, whether it's EV or, you know, other battery or other power means of propelling a vehicle. Okay. I think this is a good conversation starter. I think it's getting everybody in the game. I think it's letting everybody have this conversation about what's next in terms of vehicles. And while EV might not be the end point, it's certainly one of the beginning points for some changes.
Yeah, what they're saying end point, I know, was the Equinox getting a plug-in hybrid?
Sure.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I know that's more of the middle ground where people are a little bit more comfortable.
You know, hydrogen technology, and you have a lot of things that they haven't perfected yet that might even take us to another level.
Hydrogen's been a talk for a long time at this point. But what kind of driver or lifestyle do you think like an EV Silverado fits?
I think it fits everybody. I
was going to say the same.
You know, for me, it's more of a daily commuter. It's you know, run to Home Depot to grab some stuff for the home. But I think it's also the person that's trailering something and that wants a big vehicle inside to put a lot of stuff in. I think it appeals to the people that are environmentally conscious, you know, thinking about, you know, do I want to go EV to make some difference? I think it appeals to a very broad band of people.
Now, do you think the range is that big reason why?
I think the range on the Silverado EV is the game changer. I think the reluctance towards EVs almost all of it is relative to range and charging time. I think at 450 miles, and I'm actually getting all the way into like 475 to 479 on a full charge right now. It's actually getting better somehow. I think that takes the worry out of it. I think that takes the reluctance to get in that technology.
And that'd be why it can literally fit anyone's lifestyle.
Yeah, sure.
I wonder what the range is, because you don't tow anything, do you?
I do not normally tow, but you're definitely going to get a lessened range with the towing. I don't think it's as substantial as people think.
Okay. I wonder what it would be. But so what would you say to someone that's on the fence right now? Whether it's, I mean, obviously we're talking about EV Silverados specifically, but like, what would you say to someone, even if it's other EVs in our brands, like
Give it a try.
that's all
Give it
you're
a try.
saying?
Take a drive, give it a try. You know, when we started this movement at the dealership to try to enhance and increase our EV sales, we presented a lot of our employees with deals almost too good to be true, to get them to be promoters for us.
A lot of them took advantage
And
of
a
it.
lot of them took advantage here. And if you go down and you ask any of them, they'll all tell you the same thing. It's the best vehicle that I drive right now. So just give them a chance, give them a try, and just see what it's about.
Okay. Christina was trying to talk Maria into it for the longest time, but she didn't go for it.
It's funny.
She's got a short commute too.
We're all excited about it, right? So that was the whole point of getting the cars in people's hands, is that they become promoters of it. They're actually excited because it's new and it's refreshing, and they want to talk about it to other people.
Yeah, I know Braden loves his Blazer too.
Yeah.
He loves that thing. And especially he went from an Equinox to the Blazer EV, and he was blown away by it, I think, the night he came home with it.
We've all been doing this for a long time, right? So we've all been in this ICE, this gas mode, internal combustion engine. And if anybody was reluctant to make a change, it was us in the dealer body. It was us as dealership employees. We were programmed to sell gasoline cars. The proof is in the pudding when you start seeing folks that work and have worked selling and servicing gas vehicles, now all of a sudden telling you how much they love their EVs.
See, I never would have thought of it from that perspective, but that is...
We were all, you know, and I think that's part of the issue with EVs not being more popular, is that there was reluctance from dealership personnel. That's not how we do things. That's not what we do. It's not the normal way of a car operating, you know, that there was a lot of reluctance to accept that technology, and I think that's changing quickly.
So that makes me think of a funny story with Bill and Tony. He wanted nothing to do with the Charger.
Sure.
And then he test drove the Scat Pack. He bought it himself and then ordered more.
Car's amazing.
Yeah.
Car's amazing. Yeah.
Like he literally, Jay said he wanted nothing to do with it. Then he test drove it, bought it, and then immediately ordered.
And there's an EV that you can't even tell it's not a muscle car. It sounds just like a muscle car.
Yeah, they did.
So,
They did a wild
yeah,
thing with that there. That was crazy. But do you have any other final thoughts that you want to say about the EV Silverado?
No, I mean, I love it. It's my favorite vehicle. I promote it. I think some people should give it a shot.
All right, cool. Well, that's all I got for you, Bill. Thank you.
My
I
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, hit that subscribe button, and follow us at Healy Brothers on all social platforms.